invocation by the Reverend Heather Wood Davis. There you are.
I am the minister at First Presbyterian here in town, and so I will be reading a prayer from the Christian tradition. And if that's not your tradition, these words are not to be offensive, but just authentic to where I am and where I come from. So let us pray. You are the God who has set us in families and clans and tribes, in communities and finally in cities. We give you thanks this day that you are Lord of this city and all cities. We pray for this city today and for Jerusalem and Baghdad and Belfast and 1,000 other cities, O God. In all our cities this day there will be crime and sharp money-making and compassion and forgiveness and generosity and regulations about justice and injustice. Be our God this day and prosper our city. We pray in the name of the one who wept over the city. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a couple special presentations. One is to presentation proclamation for the Healthy and National Nutrition Month to Alice Whitener. Is she here? Okay. All right. Proclamation. Give Healthy and National Nutrition Month. Whereas the type, quality, and amount of food that individuals consume each day plays a vital role in their overall health. And whereas in today's economic climate, more and more families use food pantries and kitchens on a regular basis to supplement monthly food shortfalls. It is vital that pantries offer healthy options for their clients. And whereas 1 in 6 people and over 1 in 4 children in Catawba County are at risk of hunger, and there is evidence that hunger and obesity are linked. If an individual is food insecure, meaning they have limited or uncertain availability of nutritional, adequate, and safe foods, they are at much higher risk of becoming obese. And whereas 38.1% of Catawba County's children and 72% of Catawba County's adults are overweight or obese. Whereas a local movement called Give Healthy has been launched to encourage the donation of foods filled with the nutrients adults and children need for healthy living in partnership with food collection agencies across our country, including Eastern Catawba Cooperative Christian Ministries, Greater Hickory Cooperative Christian Ministries, and the Hickory Soup Kitchen in the corner table. Now, therefore, it says Rudy right here. Filling in. I, Rudy Wright, Mayor of the City of Hickory, on behalf of the Hickory City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of March as National Nutrition Month. In the City of Hickory, I encourage all citizens to join the Catawba County Health Partners Give Healthy campaign and become concerned about their nutrition and the nutrition of others in hope of achieving optimum health for both today and tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help. And our second proclamation is recognition of Library Outreach Coordinator Tamara Kraus. We have Library Director Louise Humphrey, who will present a PowerPoint presentation prior to presenting of the proclamation.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, members of council, Mr. Berry and Mr. Crone. I'm not really doing a PowerPoint presentation. Mike is just going to let it scroll a little bit just so you can see what Tamara does. This is Tamara Faulkner Kraus, and you have the magazine that has her cover on the picture, and there should be a picture up there as well.
Is she going to do autographs?
She can, sure, maybe later.
A magazine sign.
I'm just kidding.
It's my privilege and it's a pleasure to take part in recognizing Tamara, the city's library's outreach coordinator, who was recently named the Library Journal's 2015 Para-Librarian of the Year. And this is a prestigious award that recognizes excellence of a support staff member in a library, whether they work in a public library, university, school, community college, or a corporate library. When I read the criteria for the nomination, I immediately thought about what Tamara does and what she does for the library and the Hickory community. And I thought that made her an obvious choice to be nominated. And while Mr. Zagaroli may provide more specifics in the proclamation, I'll briefly mention the criteria for the award. The first is excellence in performing his or her job, including contributions that enable the library to best serve its constituents and its community by the encouragement of reading and the use of the library's resources, and a commitment to free access to information for all. And the candidates work to build networks, organizations, and/or groups to back excellence in library work and new career paths for support staff. And finally, improve communication and breaking down of barriers between support staff and, the master's level librarians with whom they work. A para-librarian is someone who is educated but does not have a master's degree, and that is where Tamara is, even though she has a half of a master's, so that helps too. Tamara meets not only all of these criteria, but she also sets the highest of standards for herself in every endeavor that she undertakes. We were thrilled when notified that Tamara was chosen for the award and have received accolades from librarians and library supporters from across the state. And Tamara will be officially recognized and receive a monetary award at the American Library Association's annual conference in San Francisco in June. The honor has been awarded to paraprofessionals in all types of library since it was established in 2000. So she is among a really interesting group of people. So congratulations to Tamara. Yeah.
But I think I can do it. Okay. Whereas Tamara Faulkner Kraus,
Yes.
Recently celebrated her 20th anniversary on the staff of the Hickory Public Library. She was hired as a library assistant in the children's department at Patrick Beaver Memorial Library, and later worked as senior outreach coordinator to focus on the growing population of senior citizens. I know about those things. And whereas Tamara single-handedly managed a program that serves residents' needs for the library materials and programs at 14 senior facilities and several private homes, reaching an estimated 1,700 people in the past year. And whereas a new organization, Senior Information Resources Incorporated, was formed 3 years ago, and Tamara saw an opportunity to forge another bond between the library and senior citizens. CIR leaders recognized Tamara's vast knowledge, abilities, and enthusiasm and recruited her for a leadership role. And whereas Tamara chaired the second media promotion committee that put together the Prime of Life magazine, a resource guide for seniors and caregivers. And whereas Tamara is an exceptionally effective advocate for library services. She readily volunteers for appearances in local radio and television stations and writes a column for the Hickory Daily Record several times a year. And whereas she regularly updates the library's Facebook and Twitter pages and served in the city's communication team for 4 years. She is a member of the planning team for TEDx Hickory and chaired the 2014 Alzheimer's Walk. And whereas Tamara has received Library Journal's prestigious Para-Librarian of the Year Award for 2015. Now, therefore, I, Dave Zagaroli for Rudy Wright, Mayor of the City of Hickory, can, on the behalf of the Hickory City Council, do hereby proclaim that the 3rd day of March 2015 be designated as Tamara Faulkner's Kraus Day.
Wow.
Very, very much.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
In the City of Hickory, call on all citizens to observe this day in appreciation, respect, admiration, and honor of this outstanding citizen, and thank her for all of her many contributions to our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, this way.
Yeah. Girls. See, you're here with the senior citizen. That's very good.
I'll leave you my card.
Please do.
I didn't know there was going to be so much reading. All right.
It was about a library day.
Yes. Oh, it is about a library. Okay. The Hickory Rotary Club's recognition of delegates, and from Russia. Would you please stand up and introduce Suzanne?
First, I'd like to introduce Suzanne Swan, who's been the host, and she's done lots of hosting in the past. She is the immediate past president of the Rotary Club for about 1 year, and this organization, Open World Leadership, has done 18,000 leaders throughout the community from the world to come to different countries and get a taste of Hickory and the communities and work on leadership. And she's here to introduce the folks here from Russia. Okay. First of all, I want to say I think we can have a makeup tonight for the Rotary Club. About half the membership is here. This program is actually sponsored by Congress, and it's an effort to improve relationships and promote peace worldwide. So it's really a pretty important thing. And of course, the people of Hickory have really stepped up to accept my invitations to host them in all their agencies. We are substance abuse treatment professionals for the most part, but I'm going to have them stand and introduce them. And do you want to have them come down?
Please. To accept the key to the City of Hickory.
Yes. So, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce these names. I've been with them for a few days, and I'm getting the first names okay, but the last names are still pretty hard. This gentleman here is Alexei Borzov. He's a psychiatrist who's the head of a treatment facility, and they're all from Ivanovo, Russia. Okay, and so here we have Valeria Rodionova, and she's an obstetrician gynecologist. And we have Sergei Povasaris, who is a psychologist and works at the treatment facility as well. And we have Lyubov Zubareva, and she is an educator and social worker. And we have Anatoly Durnov, who's an engineer by trade, but actually does a lot of volunteer work with recovery movement in Russia. And then we have a facilitator, who is Natalia or Natasha Pavlov. And she is in the travel business, but she's working as a facilitator and translator in Russia. And the lady who's repeating everything that I say is Elena Goldis, who's an interpreter.
Can we get a picture of all of these? Where's our
And
picture?
she lives in Atlanta. But she,
While you have the camera out.
sure.
You know how to work one of those?
It's pretty bad if I did.
Welcome to Rotary.
My apologies, but we've had such a busy day that I haven't fed them yet, so.
Yes.
Another picture.
Oh,
I'm going back up there. Act like I made it.
Don't tell him that.
Hey,
Oh, thank you very much. Okay.
Everybody in the room has these calendars by now.
All right. Presentation of community groups requesting appropriation from the City Council during the next fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2015. The Council will not take action tonight. Action will be taken when the Council considers the City's annual budget in May or June. These presentations are made so Council members can ask questions or make comments about the request. Presenters will be allotted no more than 5 minutes to make their presentations to the Council. And the first presenter is Mr. Scott Millar of the Catawba County Economic Development Corporation.
is that 5 minutes for everyone?
Yes.
I was sitting here thinking, is this a great city or what? That's certainly amazing what you've been through already. What you've been through this past year is pretty awesome too. If you look back at what's happening with Transportation Insight, what's happening with the LRU Center for the Health Sciences Facility, when you look at the bond referendum, this city is on a roll. There's a lot of good things happening, and there's a lot of good things that are going to happen, and there's going to be some challenges for the upcoming year. But when you look back, Friday's Charlotte Business Journal recognized the top 10 list of employers in Charlotte, the entire Charlotte region that they're dealing with. And certainly you would never question what a newspaper would publish. It was interesting, there you go, Frank. It was interesting that the 2 of the top 3 employers that were listed in the entire Charlotte region were Hickory-based, not Catawba County-based, but Hickory-based companies. HSM number 2, first was Daimler, number 2 was HSM, number 3 was Century Furniture. And of course, last EDC board meeting, we recognized the $100 million expenditure by the Vondrell Corporation in facilities in another state, but what happens to the mothership, or what happens for the good of the mothership is good for the city. So CommScope buying a $3 billion acquisition is not bad news for Hickory either. So our request for the upcoming year is actually $453 less than it was last year. We intend to do greater things with the opportunities that you're given for us. I've asked this question of you for many years, and I think you know the drill. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may come up with. Elsewise, I'll leave the podium and the time for the others.
Thank you.
I just had one question. What are you going to do with the 98 cents? I'll have to talk with my CFO for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Any other questions for Scott? Thank you. All right. Habitat for Humanity of Catawba Valley. Mitzi Gelman.
I was looking for Susan Lee to come right after Scott.
We're blowing the horn for you.
Huh?
We're blowing the horn for you.
It always happens to me. This count into my 5 minutes. I think protocol is to wait a second. Is that right?
Pardon?
Okay. We just wait a second. So
Well,
let me start out.
Take up any of your speaking time.
Good. I just want to make
It doesn't until you start speaking, and that's
Okay.
when the time starts.
Mr. Zagaroli, thank you for allowing me to be here. Council members, Mr. Korn and Mr. Berry. Thanks so much for allowing me to be here. I have a little bit longer than Scott's presentation, so I'm going to eat up whatever 3 minutes he didn't use. So let me just start out really quickly and I want to give you a summary of where we are for the year and what we've been able to do. And I should have asked how to use this thing first. There we go. Big news for us, and Alan Jackson's here, and I think Margaret, I saw Margaret as well, but we're celebrating our 30th anniversary beginning with the start of this year. October is actually the day, and the logo that you see is from the Jackson Group with the work that they've done with us, and we'll be using them throughout our campaign as well. Just give you a brief update. About 180 families served. We assume, because families change and different folks come in and out from the time that they get their mortgage, so we think that's around about 700 individuals who have been helped. Primarily for the city of Hickory, it means that there are 8 different neighborhoods in Hickory that we've worked on. Quickly, to always think about our families in general, a quote from one of our homeowners that I always love is Les Robinson. He was one of the first homeowners that moved into the neighborhood as we renovated over in Ridgeview off of 2nd Street. And his quote that I love is, "I've got my own little piece of heaven right on my front porch." Great guy. 2014 accomplishments. We always build a few houses. We have some repairs and renovations now. We also have recycled homes. Recycled homes are homes that have been Habitat homeowners. They've moved on to other houses, and then we've bought the houses back from them and placed new homes into that. So in terms of number of homes completed for the year, we have 4 new homes completed, 3 recycled houses, and then we completed 6 renovations. For the Restore, we've had great news with them this year. Their revenue is up 8%. We think it's simply because we hung a sign out front that says "Open to the Public," and we redid our truck. Honestly, it's been really simple, but over the time that we've put a couple banners up and some signs, our sales have gone up tremendously in the past couple months. We've increased our recycling thanks to Bob Bollinger back here with our scrap metal and the things that he does to help us out and haul scrap away, and we get checks about once a month from Mountain Recycling that we always appreciate. The other thing that we've done for the store that's kind of nice overall is we were able to refinance because our finances were a little bit better for the year, so we'd actually go to a bank and get our loan refinanced that we have on the building, which is saving us about 2% overall in interest rate. The other thing we completed recently was a upfitting of our lighting in the showroom area, which if you go in now, my folks complain that it looks like you have to wear sunglasses because it's so bright, but the bulbs are a lot more efficient, and we're expecting that it'll save us about 1/3 of our power bill, which is pretty significant. So let's go back to why we're here and get an idea. There's this song kind of that Terrell, everybody sings, I'm happy. So, but what's happy look like when you're with Habitat? This is happy. This is Nolan Carlton, who just moved into his house, and I asked him, tell me how it feels to own a house. And this is what he does. I've waited all my life to own my own home. The guy's 50-some years old. So one of the things we did this year to get ready for our 30th anniversary also was to work on a strategic plan. Now, if y'all know me, I'm not the most strategic thinker. I'm kind of out of the box, sort of a little creative. So we actually have somebody on staff who decided that we need a strategic plan. It's working really good for us right now. But basically, to sum up what our vision is, it's that every man, woman, and child can have a decent place to live because it makes our community better. And it goes on from there. But that's the core of our overall vision for Habitat. And as always, our mission is seeking to put God's love in action and to build and improve homes, revitalize communities, and promote hope. Things that we're looking at is basically development and marketing. We want to raise more money, and we want to put our word out of what Habitat actually does. We feel like we're one of the best kept secrets in Hickory and the community. People know the Habitat name, but they don't always know what we do. They don't know how we serve families, how we work with people, how we change the community, how we work with other agencies. Board function and composition. And we're working on trying to build up more board members. Our board membership over the years has kind of diminished a bit. We're down to about 12 members. We like to have around 15 or so. I was happy to tell Cliff Moon that he's been approved as a board member as of last Monday. And also we're bringing on Anthony Freeman as a new board member as well. We're looking to be more diversified and represent our community better. So the other thing to look at is that we're looking at forming more partnerships. We would like to have a relationship with other communities and other cities the way we have a partnership with the City of Hickory. The City of Hickory has done work with Habitat, and we've worked in partnership for so long. It's difficult for us to move anywhere else, honestly, because the financial support from the City of Hickory is so great. Our families always still ask to live in Hickory as well, too. So that's why you will see a lot more building happening in the Hickory community. One of the things that actually came out that was real positive for this past year was a work with Thrivent Financial. Thrivant sponsored a house and then also worked with about 150 volunteers on renovations as well to some other houses. So those are the type of partnerships we're hoping to further. Serving more, serving better. One of the things we're looking at is home ownership the only option that Habitat needs to be looking at? Do we need to look at other ways as well to provide services? One of the things that you'll hear more about over the next couple of years will be Habitat looking at rental properties, sensing that the need in Hickory not only is just for home ownership, but also for decent, affordable rental. And we could talk about that more later in another meeting if you'd like to hear more about that. But we are actively looking for properties that we can renovate and operate as rental properties, hoping that that will also be a feeder system into our home ownership program as well. The other thing that we look at is that we got to have the right people on the bus. So we always want to have the right staff, the right level of expertise. We want to keep our staff trained. A lot of my folks have been with Habitat now for 10 years plus. So we do a lot more education, a lot more training as well. One of the folks we've recently added was a lady who had worked with us originally as an AmeriCorps volunteer. She came back to Hickory and is, after getting her master's degree, and she's working specifically on helping to build relationship with churches again with us. So the other thing we feel like we need is we need to have the right tools. Not those kind of tools, but maybe those kind of tools. So with Habitat, most of our problems can be solved by a hammer, like a lot of other businesses have got. So we like lots of hammers and lots of the right kinds of tools. Little things like nonprofits that you'll hear about is that we can't always afford the latest technology, but we're trying to make sure that we budget for new computer equipment, new software, new things that keep our edge, as a business needs to do. So, new year, new directions. I know it's March already, but what are we doing for the upcoming year? And one of the things that you'll hear more about is our work in the Northstone subdivision. Northstone is a property that we bought, I think back in 2010 or 2011. It's right off of Falling Creek Road. It was already, the entire subdivision was already created when we bought it. We bought it out of foreclosure from BB&T. So to give you an idea, like this is Falling Creek Road, and then the neighborhood comes in, it's a little U-shaped. Right now there are 22 total building lots. We're looking to take a couple of those lots, maybe 4 of those lots possibly, but maybe more like 2 of them, and open those up as open space for the community. We feel like that's important because the neighborhood itself is a little pocket neighborhood, and we want to have a place for kids to play and feel safe. So probably somewhere around this area right here is where we'll create some open space that'll be used with like a gazebo and some other things as we were able to work out with the planning department. We're trying to stay in close communication with them so they have an idea of what we're working on. But we should start building in this neighborhood sometime by the end of April, maybe March, somewhere in that time frame if we're lucky. Just really quickly, I already mentioned some of these located in the St. Stephen's community. It's the first time we've been in that community. A lot of interest from people who drive by and know that we're going to be building there. I've gotten lots of phone calls. 20 building lots, open space. One of the things we're going to do too is connect part of the sidewalk, the big U shape that you saw. Actually, there's no sidewalk across the front. So we're going to be creating a sidewalk right here. So it creates like a little walking trail, basically, within the community. We're kind of excited about little simple things like that that make a neighborhood better. New house designs. Appraised value, we're looking at about $120,000, we think. And around all of our homes will be maintain the same energy efficiency. We're using a company called Tightline Designs out of Raleigh. But let's just show you kind of what they look like. They're small houses, but they're really big on design. Typical house plan that Tightlines is developed for other Habitat affiliates and other nonprofit builders, and like an interior shot for you. Little things that are simple that make a house a lot better. You have these scissor trusses on the inside that make that vaults the ceiling and creates kind of a nicer look and feel on the inside that opens up the house plan a lot. First house that we'll build, hopefully with a local company that we're waiting to hear confirmation back from them on, is their floor plan with Tightline Designs called the Julia 2. It'll be handicapped accessible, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,200 square feet. And if y'all can see that, you're better off than, your eyes are much better than mine. But it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a nice kind of feature that gives you this nice wraparound porch. It's kind of a country look to the house. So why am I here before you today other than just it's good to see you? I haven't seen you in a while. So our request for this year is for $19,088, 8 sewer and water taps. The thing that I like for y'all to know is that the return on investment is, if you look at the $120,000 per house appraised value, it adds almost $1 million to the city's tax base. So we always feel like we come to the city asking for things, but we like to know that we also give back in return is what we hope. So that's all I've got for you now. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer those, and I appreciate your time.
I have a question. If you go back to the screen or on the ask screen where you asked for 19,000, which is 8 sewer and water taps.
Yes,
is that correct?
Yes.
It's not 19,000 and 8.
No. That's okay. It's for 8 sewer and water taps, and the capacity fees as well. Right.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem.
Nancy, I've had 2 questions. One of them is, I know in the past that you really concentrated on energy efficiency for these residents, for the homes. Is that still the case?
Yes. And
then also my second question was, how many lots are left at the Glen? Do you know how many lots are left there?
At the Glen, we have 5 lots left. Okay. And one of the reasons we're moving over to Northstone right now is because we have a couple of families who have expressed interest in being in that area because they have family there. So our plan is to go over to Northstone, build out some houses. I'm not sure exactly how long we'll be there, but then go back to the Glen. But our intent is to be back over there soon. The question with the energy efficiency, we still are one of the top affiliates, not only in the state but in the country, for energy efficiency, and we're recognized for that fairly often.
Yes.
So thanks.
Y'all do a tremendous job, and I'm always excited when I hear about what you're doing in the community.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We're glad to be here too.
Thank you.
Cost to build, I know you said the appraised value is $120,000. What does it cost to build? I know you get a lot of volunteer labor.
Yeah,
about what costs are involved.
It's been interesting. The houses that we built on Robinson Road, we realized that a lot of our money was going in the foundation because we weren't really grading appropriately to keep the foundations low. So one of the things we did in the Glen, specifically when we started out, was keeping the foundations low to the ground. It saves us about $6,000 to $8,000 per house because it's nice to have that in the house instead of in the brick. So right now, like the houses we're finishing up in the Glen are running about $80,000 to $83,000 for materials and subcontractor labor and land. It doesn't include staff time, which is pretty significant because our housing, we're not building as many houses as we used to, but overall, like our out-of-pocket expenses around $82,000 to $83,000. It's for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's pretty economical, 1,330 square feet. Comes out about $60 a square foot.
Very good.
Yeah. I'd like to build a house like that for myself. So. Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Hickory Conover Tourism Development Authority, B.B. Leach.
It has Bruce Eckert on the agenda. I'm a little taller than he is, but he's homesick tonight, so I'm glad to fill in for him. And thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli and council members, for allowing us to come back year after year and request funding for the Hickory Conover Tourism Development Authority. So our request is for $20,000, and along with funding from Catawba County and the City of Conover, the money will be used to attract visitors to the Hickory area. I want to remind you that none of the funding will be used to support the convention center, that the convention center operates solely on occupancy tax revenue and event revenue. So our relationship with city staff, especially with Mandy Pitts, has strengthened our community partnerships by enhancing the quality of life and supporting the role of economic development that plays in the Hickory Metro. Many groups have benefited from our partnership. Western Piedmont Symphony, the Catawba Science Center, the Folk Art Festival, and I'm sad they won't be holding their event this year. The Hickory Crawdads, the Hickory Motor Speedway, Taste of Hickory, Pottery Festival. We can go on and on and on. But and of course the biggest one is the Great Hickory Kia Classic that won't be here again this year. Our visitor center welcomes more than 3,500 tourists annually who are in the Hickory area to shop for furniture, pottery, attend sporting events, events at the convention center, eat at one of our unique dining facilities, or just stop by to find out about Hickory. With the additional I-40 signage directing visitors to our facility, visitor traffic has increased by about 50%. And I'm excited to be able to tell our visitors about the upcoming City Walk from Lenore Ryan University to Lake Hickory, and the River Walk from Whitener Park to the Crawdad Stadium. Things are happening in Hickory, and that will have a huge impact on the tourism industry and our quality of life, which will hopefully encourage young families to find a home here in the Hickory area. So our Director of Sales and Marketing, Sarah Davis, is in Raleigh every month to reach out to meeting planners and association executives to encourage their groups to host a meeting at the Convention Center or other meeting facilities in Hickory. There are a few days in the year that there isn't something going on at the Convention Center. Last year, out of 365 days, 275 days were occupied with an event either moving in, moving out, or having their event at the Convention Center. We host a variety of events that include state associations, religious, sports, corporate, public shows, just all kinds of events that choose the Convention Center to hold their meetings. And I encourage everyone here who's a member of an association to invite your group to host their meeting either at the Convention Center or a meeting facility in the Hickory area. Bring them here, because once they're here, they like us, and I know that our staff will show them the Southern hospitality that they have not seen anywhere else. So the parking deck construction is going strong, and soon we'll see the deck take shape. The front entry of the Convention Center is also going to be enhanced, and a roundabout configuration will be added and will enable visitors to drop off packages, whatever, or to just attend their events. So the construction should be finished by the end of May or early June. This last couple of weeks, weather has not been conducive to construction, but they have promised us that they will catch up. So tourism generated an economic impact of over $232 million in Catawba County this past year, which was a 5% increase over the previous year. Catawba County ranked number 16 in travel impact among North Carolina's 100 counties, and we have approximately 2,200 people employed in the tourism industry in the county. State and local tax revenues from travel amounted to a little over $19 million, and the most important figure is that out of that $19 million represents a tax savings of $124 per Catawba County resident on their county taxes. So I could go on and tell you all the good news about the tourism industry, but since I'm limited to time, I just want to say again thank you. This is an exciting time for all of us in the Hickory area, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you, Biggie.
Fill up the deck.
Fill up the deck. Hickory Downtown Development Association, Tammy Panther. And a friend.
And Ms. Kincaid is going to do our PowerPoint presentation. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. On behalf of the Board of Directors and membership of Hickory Downtown Development Association, I would like to thank you all for our continued partnership. Our mission statement is simple. We want downtown Hickory to be a destination that not only draws visitors, but inspires them to want to stay in our community. To ensure that we are staying on track with our mission, every 5 years, the Hickory Downtown Development Association holds a forum with members of the community, including property and business owners, residents, and local government, to craft a vision statement that reflects their future vision of the downtown district. Then the Board of Directors creates a work plan with projects that will accomplish the goals in the community's vision statement. One of our projects this year is to install directional signs to downtown. The signs are based on the city's future wayfinding designs and meet NCDOT standards. Safety for our residents and visitors is also an important goal for Hickory Downtown Development Association. We worked with Norfolk Southern Railroad and the City of Hickory to create a safer pedestrian crossing at Union Square. We also continue to work with property owners on the improvements of their buildings and the visual aspects of downtown. Last year, we hosted some great festivals that brought a very diverse group of people, both locally and from abroad, to our downtown. Our events generated more than $5.5 million in our local economy. In 2014, the downtown district experienced 12 new business openings, while 7 closed, for a net gain of 5 new businesses and 7 new jobs. Almost $4.6 million was invested through business and property development in 2014. The main focus of our association, however, is to have a strong positive impact on our customer. Our customer is defined as the city's residents, businesses, visitors, and local government. Our impact is not in our individual promotions, but in the people it brings into our downtown. On behalf of the Board of Directors and membership of Hickory Downtown Development Association, we respectfully request an annual allocation of $50,000 in fiscal year 2015-2016. This amount is the same as in previous years. We value our partnership with the City of Hickory and appreciate your consideration. May I answer any questions? Okay, thank you very much for your time.
The Salt Block Foundation, Lawrence Thompson, or LT.
Thank you.
AKA.
I'll answer to anything, absolutely anything. Mr. Zagaroli, members of the City Council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone, good evening. I'm LT Thompson, as Mr. Zagaroli indicated, President of the Salt Block Foundation. Thank you for your time and efforts on behalf of our community. I know you're busy, and I'll keep my remarks brief. As I hope you know, the mission of our organization, the Salt Block Foundation, is to pay for the cost of the physical facilities for the non-governmental organizations that live at the Salt Block. And this includes the Catawba Science Center, the Hickory Museum of Art, the Western Piedmont Symphony, the Hickory Choral Society, and the United Arts Council. In all, there are 3 buildings that we maintain: the main Arts and Science Center, the newer Aquarium Planetarium, and the West Wing that sits by 127. It's an expensive proposition. All of these buildings are old and continue to age, unfortunately, and require constant updating and maintenance. However, these investments pay serious dividends. These Salt Block organizations are a major economic and cultural asset to our community, collectively serving more than 300,000 people per year, including students from every Hickory Public School. If you count the attendees of the Patrick Beaver Memorial Library, which is also located on the block, we collectively serve over 500,000 people annually. Since the opening of the Arts and Science Center in 1986, the city has been a wonderful partner in our work at the Salt Block. You have and continue to help us in many ways, including providing security, ground maintenance, and capital replacement funds for the Salt Block buildings. The county has also been a wonderful partner over the past 28 years, providing much-needed annual operating funds for the foundation. The Salt Block has been very lucky to have the support of some very generous citizens and businesses over the years who have contributed a significant amount of the needed funding. And the tenant organizations also contribute to the ongoing expenses and upkeep. We continue to diligently raise funds from the private sector for the support of the Salt Block. This takes the form of annual giving as well as estate giving, which does take some time to produce results. Because of this public-private partnership between the city, county, and the private donors, the Salt Block Foundation has the necessary funds to keep the lights on and the heat on and to keep the buildings safe and attractive and in good repair. Ongoing support from the city and matching support from Catawba County is vital to ensure that the Salt Block Foundation and its resident organizations remain strong in the near and long term. Specifically, this upcoming year, it looks likely that we will need to replace some major HVAC units. The bottom line is that the city's investment in the Salt Block is paying off. Your capital replacement funds are enabling us to keep the 3 buildings on the Salt Block in good shape. It's an ongoing process, but one that we believe will keep the Salt Block strong and attractive to hundreds of thousands of our citizens each year. The Salt Block Foundation Board of Directors is very excited about what's going on in Hickory right now and the Boost Hickory efforts. And very importantly, we feel like the Salt Block is an important asset in attracting people and businesses to this area. And we hope that the Bond Commission will consider the role that the salt block plays and will consider the salt block in formulating plans, and hope that the City Council knows we are willing to be of assistance in any way possible. All of us at the salt block thank you for your important, ongoing support and respectfully ask that you continue our partnership during the coming year. Any questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
United Arts Council of Catawba County, Alan Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Zagaroli, members of the City Council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone, it's good to see you all again this year. My name is Alan Jackson, President of the United Arts Council of Catawba County. I want to first off thank you for your past support of the Arts Council and the cultural organizations under its umbrella. And I'm asking you again to continue your commitment to $1 per capita in arts funding. We believe the strength of our cultural organizations is a key part of the recruitment of new businesses and new professionals to our community. The longtime support of the Hickory City Council for the United Arts Council has been crucial in keeping the arts, science, and history programming at a very high quality level. In addition, we believe cultural organizations such as the Hickory Museum of Art, the Catawba Science Center with its planetarium and aquarium, the Hickory Community Theater, Western Piedmont Symphony, the Hickory Choral Society, Hickory Landmark Society, and the Hickory History Center, as well as the United Arts Council, are a vital part of the whole Boost Hickory movement. We're very proud of our city for its vision and moving forward with this initiative. We want to publicly offer to help, particularly through partnership and collaboration. As you consider our request, please remember the economic impact of the arts. The Arts Council subgrants your funds after matching them with state grassroots funds. We require organizations that receive grants from the Arts Council to match them dollar for dollar. Therefore, every dollar you grant to us translates to at least a minimum $4 spent in our community. The North Carolina Arts Council actually estimates that numbers is as high as $24 spent locally for every dollar granted to the arts. We believe this is a powerful benefit of the long-term relationship between the City of Hickory and the United Arts Council. And this is always the fun part, getting to talk about some of the grants that we did over the past year with your help. In other words, these are programs and events that would not have happened without the support we receive through the Arts Council and from the city. The entertaining and educational Fractals Planetarium show at the Catawba Science Center. The 2014-15 Visiting Writers Series at Lenoir University, one of the iconic cultural events in our area. The upcoming collaboration between the Hickory Choral Society and the Western Piedmont Symphony of the Mailer Symphony No. 2, the largest orchestra choral event ever undertaken in our region. A very successful and well-attended week-long summer choral camp for young children put on by the Hickory Choral Society. A living exhibition at the Hickory Museum of Art whereby well-known local woodworker Eddie Hamrick will demonstrate his craft to museum visitors and teach school groups who tour the facility. The production of Grease by the Carolina Broadway Theater Company in partnership with CVCC that drew large audiences to the Salt Block Auditorium last summer. The upcoming Hickory Community Theater production of Shakespeare's comedy Much Ado About Nothing. A community gospel concert produced by the Kingdom Alliance Fellowship, a consortium of African American churches. The Art Crawl sponsored by the Hickory Downtown Development Association that brings such lively crowds to our downtown. And the popular Swinging Under the Stars event on Union Square, which again draws a large, diverse crowd to downtown. In 2013-14, our project operating and individual grants totaled $225,786. We hope the total at the end of this fiscal year will be equally impressive. We're confident this makes our city a more vibrant place to live and to work. Tonight we ask that you consider our request for $40,065, which is $1 per capita. We thank you not only for your monetary support, but for your continued message that our quality of life has the highest priority for you. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Viewmont Business Association, Mr. Bobby Bush.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. I'm Bobby Bush, President of the newly reformed Viewmont Business Association. And that's my main message is we're back. It's been over 15 years, but the Viewmont Business Association is off to a roaring start. We had our first official board of directors meeting. It had been postponed from February last night. And we have 24 businesses. 24 out of over 200 businesses in the Viewmont community have already paid their dues in this fledgling event. One of the first things we did was put our mission statement together, and like a mission statement should be, it's short and to the point. I'd like to read it, very brief. The mission of the Viewmont Business Association is, 1, to promote businesses in the Viewmont community through common marketing and by maintaining a physically attractive and safe shopping environment. 2, to encourage business-to-business networking in the pursuit of the above. Our board of directors was elected in our meeting in January of the 24 attendees, 24 representative companies. Henry Morphus of Morphus Law is our vice president. Carolyn Sinclair of Andrians is secretary. Donna Price of Bumblebee Interiors is our treasurer. Matt Miller of Bistro 127 is our logistics manager. Kim Rink of Rink & Robinson is in charge of marketing. And our events co-chairs are Janelle Gibbs of Raspberries and Nicole Daly of First Citizens. Of our 24, we even have one church that's a member. We're not going to exclude anybody who wants to participate. It's a great group and a lot of opportunity for us to move forward. What we intend to do with the small amount of money, I'm hearing all these other pledges, I realize I didn't ask for enough, but with this small amount of money that we're asking for, we'll go towards our efforts to brand Viewmont. We want to create community awareness and community pride, to design and promote a recognizable Viewmont logo. We want to work to improve our Viewmont boundary signs. Along the way, it probably won't come the first year, but our plans are to upgrade the appearance of our streets and our business community. Our goal is to make Viewmont a nicer place to live, work, and shop. We will cooperate with the city of Hickory. We love Mandy. She's been very, very much assistance to us as we're just getting our feet under ourselves. So we coordinate our efforts with the city. We don't see any problem. There's no cross channels there. With that said, we respectfully and graciously ask that a tiny bit of the 2015-16 city budget be designated to help with our work in Viewmont. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. YMCA, Gary Knox.
Good evening. Good evening. Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone, Councilman, thank you for allowing me to have some time here. I've not stood before this fine group before, but I'm proud to stand before this group on behalf of the space, the place, and the cause, the YMCA. The YMCA is an essential part of the city of Hickory and the Catawba Valley. We are blessed to have the opportunity to provide program services and functions to families throughout Catawba Valley. The YMCA stands for Youth Development for Healthy Living and for Social Responsibility. Our programs and services work to develop mind, body, and the spirit of boys and girls. We serve youth across the community based on the needs of this specific community. We teach based upon our core values of caring, respect, honesty, and responsibility. Our programs are designed such that to ultimately build strong communities. More important, we watch youth grow into strong, productive citizens, and this benefits the entire community. We request from the City of Hickory to expand the support for the work that we're doing in the community swimming program with a grant of $9,900. The YMCA is more than a place, it is a cause. Why the Y? The Y is a place where families come to grow and where children often learn life skills that mold them into future leaders. This grant will allow us to continue strengthening the swimming program and the community relationships. We see great value in teaching children how to swim in this community. It also helps us to continue strengthening the relationship, our broad range of programs and services focused on creating strong minds, bodies, and spirits. We appreciate your consideration for granting the YMCA and look forward to sharing our successes with you. Our mission is to put Christian principles into practice through programs, like I said, to build healthy spirits, minds, and bodies for all. benefits to the citizens of Hickory. This request is to expand our relationship and our partnership with the city of Hickory. We would purchase the materials to erect and construct pergolas that has quickly become popular and stylish in outside additions and landscaping. But while these pergolas will add beauty to the landscaping of the area just to the left of our outside pools, they will function to provide for the city of Hickory a more comfortable sitting area for children to enjoy lunch beside the pool away from the direct rays of the sun. An area for children to do outside crafts and arts, and that will expand beyond our swimming program to include summer camp participants and various other sports programs and services provided by the YMCA. They will provide a relaxing retreat for adults to wait for their children and to watch their children swim in the pool and to participate in outside activities. An environmental friendly gathering place that will be for families to enjoy YMC sports events. Permanent shade structure for an outside area that is currently not protected that will demonstrate our commitment to sun safety and skin cancer awareness. This is our request, and I'll entertain any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we'll have presentation of the FY 2015-16 Board and Commission work plans. First up, Business Development Committee, Jeff Hale.
Well, good evening. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and Misters Berry and Crone and the council. Appreciate the opportunity to come to present to you all this evening, and I hope you all will appreciate the opportunity I take to try to get you back on schedule. So this is the first, I guess, of several work plan reviews or presentations that you all are going to hear this evening. My name is Jeff Hale, and I'm the chairman of the Business Development Committee, appointed by you all as an advisory committee to council, primarily focusing on small and medium-sized business affairs and development opportunities in the city of Hickory, as all of you all know. You should have a copy of the work plan that, with the assistance of city staff, we have provided to you all. And in the interest of time, what I'd like to do is focus on some of the items. Does everyone have one? Okay. The first couple of items should be very familiar to you because those are a part of what we've kind of considered the tasks of the committee. We've broken the work plan this year into three substantive areas, we believe: tasks, kind of more strategic activities, many of which are, a handful of which are new for us this year, and then some forward-thinking or forward-looking opportunities that may present themselves or that we may look to going forward. The first two, items 1 and 2, are our role, or have to do with our role in advising you all in early review, along with city staff, of the vacant building grant process. You all have just reviewed that in the last few months. You've made some revisions to that process. What we've asked for here in the work plan as it relates to the monetary support is consistent with what you all have already discussed, debated, and approved. So that's the lion's share of the financial support that we're looking for in this proposal or work plan. So I'd ask if I could draw your attentions to point 3 and point 4. While it doesn't completely coincide with the budgetary process altogether, we've been having discussions about the potential for doing some feasibility work on repurposing some small spaces that the city owns that have not been used. Now, with the Boost Hickory efforts that are about to go on, it has been brought to our attention that there may be some alternative means in supporting Boost Hickory that those spaces may need to be used for. But in the meantime, our committee would like to have a small amount of funding that would be available in the potential that we could establish that as an entrepreneurial development space potentially. So that's what this point 3 listed as creative business spaces is about. Under point 4, item B,
you'll see a business startup grant. This whole concept is in kind of its infancy, in discussion amongst our committee, but the idea is that in combination with some of the support or some of the resources that exist through CVCC, there are a lot of resources and training available for young business owners, and we would like to work with them in combination with the resources that they offer in vetting possible new business ownership in the city and providing some small amount of funding in assisting them getting started and locating here in Hickory. It's very early, so we've got a lot of work to do in support of that, in particular nailing down what the protocols would be for qualification for sure. So the rest of the items that are in this work plan, 5 through 7, are continuations of activities that have been in place prior. We have, under item 6B, we have put in an item there for recognition of newer businesses, some kind of landmarks, if you will, for younger businesses as we're trying to encourage young people and businesses here in the community. And that makes up $139,950 in total. About, I guess, $100,000 of that is the grants for the vacant building program. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Citizens Advisory Committee, Mr. David Leonetti.
Thank you, Mr. Zagaroli, members of council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. I'll be brief. I'm going to describe a little bit about what we're planning on doing with the Citizens Advisory Committee next year. It's a little shorter because we don't actually have a budget. The Citizens Advisory Committee is planning on continuing to provide input on all community development related issues that related to any of the funding that the city may receive. Currently, that is community development block grant funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and also North Carolina Housing Finance Agency funding through their urgent repair program. So one of the things that they do is recommend applications that we receive for housing assistance, either through our down payment assistance program or through the rehabilitation loans that we offer through the CDBG program and the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. The other big task that they have is they provide input on the general community development block grant program. We're in the process of updating our 5-year consolidated plan, which will be coming to you within the next few months. That's going to provide a 5-year strategic plan for housing and community development needs throughout the community. So they're providing a lot of input on that, as well as our funding for nonprofits, public service agencies that we fund through those programs. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody? No questions?
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Leonetti. Community Appearance Commission, Andrew Straw.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Mr. Crone, Manager Berry. I'm the chairman of the Community Appearance Commission. This is I'm honored to be on the commission this is my second year on the commission and my first year as the chair. Our work plan for 2015-16 continues items that we've worked on for several years. The largest elements of our budget are continuation of the community appearance and landscape grant programs, and that's our priority 1 item. Our priority 2 items are oversight of the Saturday litter pickup program, and the budget line for that is to support the city costs in doing that, and promoting tree preservation through the city. We do that by promoting tree planting by giving away seedlings at the Arbor Day, Earth Day event that the city holds in the spring. We administer the city's Beautification Awards program, and we are currently discussing how we can energize this program for next fall. And we provide some funding for public education of litter reduction. Our new initiatives for 2015-16 will be implementing our recommendations to refresh the city's Adopt a Spot program, which includes a slight increase in the budget to support new signage for that, and implementation of new operating guidelines for the grants. And we're on the agenda to come back and talk to you in a little more detail about those new guidelines in 2 weeks. This is just a little view of what the new plaques for the Adopt a Spot program will look like. And you see we've adopted the city's well-crafted logo. And you'll see then the Adopt a Spot signs there at $700 in the budget is the one thing that's an increase over the current year, and it's to cover that refresh. So the total requested in the budget is $52,000, which is about a 1.4% over current year. So that's a summary of our plan and budget for 2015-16, subject to your questions. Thank you.
Community Relations Council, Thurman Wisnick.
Thank you, Mr. Zagaroli, members of council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. I come before you tonight, actually it's the Community Relations Council. Yeah. I come before you tonight. I serve as the staff liaison, and unfortunately Neil Orgain sends her regrets that she couldn't be here tonight, so I'll be presenting on behalf of the Community Relations Council just to give you a brief overview of the work plan. The Community Relations Council really has 4 main objectives that are broken down into their yearly work plan. And so tonight I just want to touch on those. For the past few years and this year they're requesting $17,000 of budgeted funds. The biggest part of that goes to a grant program where there's 2 yearly cycles, a fall and a spring grant cycle where nonprofit groups can apply for money for projects to promote positive community relations and good human relations within the community. Just a number of programs have been funded over the last few years. Actually, they're in the process of a grant cycle right now. That's the first objective, being the main part of what they do. They also sponsor a multicultural event recognizing individuals and groups for outstanding human relations. We're coming up on that time of year again this year where we're going to open up nominations for folks that have done outstanding work in the area of promoting human relations. A portion also goes to training for Community Relations Council members in the area of diversity and human relations. This past year, they did some board training. We have an annual board retreat where they bring in some trainers to do some leadership group activities so that the members can learn about diversity and human relations and kind of take that back out into the community. And also sponsor a community outreach event that promotes positive community human relations. So an example of that, you see some photos here from a community movie night that's always a big event. In October, just before Halloween, you can see the line outside the Carolina Theater where there's a canned food drive. That's the admission for tickets to get in, and it's always a packed house, always a fun event. Just some photographs here real quickly of just a few of the grant recipients. Not to take away from any, but these were just some great photos, I thought. In the top left there is a recently funded grant for the Council on Adolescence for the Lunch Buddy Mentoring Program. Several of our police officers participate in that. It's a great program that they do as a result of a CRC funded grant. The bottom left is a musical petting zoo that, as a result of a CRC grant for the Hickory Music Factory. And then the other 2 pictures are is a dental care program and a vision care program that was partially funded by a CRC grant through Cooperative Christian Ministries. Something that was recently done as part of the outreach event. was on February 5th, the Hickory Community Theater had a night that was co-sponsored by the Community Relations Council, and they were able to give away about 170 tickets or so, and I had requests, unfortunately, that I couldn't fill, but it was a packed house, I understand, that night for the performance of Crowns, and I heard just numerous great comments about that. Great community event there. The Human Relations Awards last year, they were in the early planning stages for this year. Last year, it was held uptown under the sails. It was a catered event. We had a lot of folks that just walked up and didn't know what the Community Relations Council was about, so it was a great opportunity for that, as well as recognizing these outstanding individuals. Joanne Spees, who is the founder of the Council on Adolescence years ago, Tony Abernathy, who was the Youth Award winner, who represents the youth very well, was on the Youth Council, and Bob and Becky Hart for Hart Square. So, and then you can see the Hickory Jazz Band performing there. Just a few more pictures. Recently funded grant, the Adults Caring for Aging Parents, ACAP community received a grant. And then Safe Harbor Rescue Mission, they have a Sense of Hope program that's kind of a work resource program that they have that's up and running well as a result of a CRC grant. So those are just some examples of things that will continue on over the next year as part of the CRC work plan. And with that, I'll take questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Hickory International Council, Mr. Hanny Nazar. Hi.
Nazar.
Nazar.
Mr. Zagaroli.
Yeah.
Member of City Council, Mr. Barry, Mr. Krohn. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. We have been operating for about 13 years now, and we've changed a little bit of the culture for the HIC from being more business-oriented into more educational-oriented for the children of this community, as well as making the public more aware of cultural or international diversity. So we are mostly a programming organization, and I'm going to talk about eight topics that we will be addressing in 2015-2016. But first I want to pay a little bit of tribute for Mr. Baul Kabiri, who left us in June of last year. He was a member of the council from Ghana. He was with the United Nations for many years, and he was a very valuable member of this organization. So thank you, Mr. Kabiri, wherever you are. We are coming up next Monday, this coming Monday, and next year as well, we will have the Model UN, Pangea Model UN, which is in coordination with the Boy Scouts of America as well as the Lenore Ryan University. These are where middle school students as well as high school students will act as diplomats in the United Nations Forum to discuss certain topics of that organization. So we will have that over 2 days, next Monday and Tuesday. The next coming up, April 27th through the 30th, is the International Film Festival for Children, which is a modification of the Spring Fest, which we used to have for many years. And now we cooperate with the 3 public school systems as well as the private school systems. And we bring about 10 to 15 international movies that are made for children. So we'll bring in some this year from the Academy Awards that won this year. And these are a logo competition. I received over 300 entries for the logo competition from 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, and we'll be grading these, and we will have winners from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, which will be announced later on during the festival. Also, by the way, we added last year we had about 2,400 students participate, and this year we will have probably twice as many, because we will have the event taking place in Catawba County for the Catawba County schools, in the Hickory for the Hickory Public Schools, and the Newton Conover for the Newton Conover City Schools. So we'll be operating all week long in 3 different locations. Folkmoot USA this will be the 32nd annual event. This will be the 4th one we bring here to Hickory. They come as far. They start in Waynesville, North Carolina, and they come as far east as Hickory. And this year we will have a presentation from Italy, Canada, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Spain, Ecuador, Germany, and the Philippines. Very briefly, these groups come from overseas and they stay 2 weeks in Waynesville, and 3 of them will come to Hickory to present 2 hours of performance at the Salt Block Auditorium. This event is about the only event that we actually make money off. We don't make money, we charge tickets, and the money obviously goes to the city, but this is one event that we charge for. We also cooperate with the Foot Candle Film Society to bring in 4 international movies throughout the year. We brought in the following ones at the bottom. We brought over Ida, which has won the Academy Awards for Best Foreign Movie. And this coming Thursday, so day after tomorrow, we'll be showing Leviathan, which is the Russian movie that was nominated for Best Academy Award. And this is also in honor of our Russian delegations who will be attending. And after the movie, we'll have discussion with them about the movie. So if you're free to the public, if you are able to attend, that would be great. We also, in September, we have the Great Decisions discussion program, which is a Foreign Policy Association program. We have about 30 people who participate, from lawyers to teachers to doctors to members of the community, and we will be discussing those 8 topics during the period of September 8 to October 27. I've got 28 positions filled. I have 2 more to go. If any of you interested in participating, please get back to me. And then the community grant, we give away 2 community grants every year, also in line with the mission of the International Council. This year, Through the Eyes of the World, one Hervé Bostwick from Newton Conover City Schools, and it'll be based on the Steve McCurry photographic exhibition, which will be taking place in September at the Hickory Museum of Art. And then Brian Smith won also Desert Rain in Guatemala, which is the story of the Ella who came from Guatemala as she was 5 months old, and she asked the question here locally, not locally, but in the U.S., does it rain in Guatemala? And when she heard the answer was yes, she decided to raise money and buy umbrellas for Guatemalan children and people. So this is a story, and these are the 2 grants that won this year. We will also be participating with the Hickory Museum of Art and the Catawba Camera Club to present the Steve McCurry photographic exhibit, and our part is to bring in children from the school system to attend this exhibit. On the top left, you see the Sharbat Gula. She is the Afghan girl that was photographed by Steve in a Pakistani refugee camp, and then she was found about 20 years later, there was a picture of her here and also in the National Geographic. You may have seen that picture at some point. Another picture that he has taken, these are in Kabul, the middle one, children in a car boot, car trunk, some Indian guys, and then this is Kuwait in 1991 at the bottom right. And lastly, we'll have the Christmas concert, traditionally by the Romanian Baptist Church, and it happens in December, to finish up the year. And in summary, it is a $13,000 budget. Actually, our budget is $18,000. We raise about $5,000 from the community for the Spring Fest, and we get some money back from Folkmoot. So theoretically, what we get from the city, I think about $5,000 goes back at the end of the year. It's not a guarantee, but it has happened over the years. So we would appreciate if you can continue to support us with this budget. Thank you very much. Any questions?
And they say there's nothing to do in Hickory. Yes.
Well, also, and they told us, I get the question, how could you do so much as a small community function? I said, we collaborate. As you may have noticed, everything we have is a collaboration with an entity that would work with us to accomplish the task. Thank you very much.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for the many hats you wear.
Yes. Hickory Regional Planning Commission, Mr. Brian Frazier. You're still here? Yes.
Still here, still awake.
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, members of council, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone, good evening. I'm here to present a brief plan tonight, the work plan for the Regional Planning Commission and the Board of Adjustment. Again, there is no budget. They are not requesting any funding again, and you have it before you, but basically it's not much has changed for the past couple of years. The Commission is looking at conducting annual reviews of the Hickory by Choice 2030 Comprehensive Plan as well as the Land Development Code. Believe it or not, next January will be the 5th year of the implementation since the adoption of the Hickory by Choice 2030 plan. So a 5-year looks at a major rewrite. We're looking to weave into the comprehensive plan some of the bond initiative measures. We're also looking at having the Planning Commission monitor and recommend amendments as is necessary to both the plan and the Land Development Code, whether it be on an annual basis or not. They will be also conducting expeditious reviews of rezoning requests, special use permits, and the like. We're winding down on our third and fourth brownfield grant in the amount of $400,000. That money will be expended by September 30th of this year. We have applied for another 2 grants totaling $600,000. One we should hear this month, one we probably won't hear until about Memorial Day, so we're optimistic about that, and the Planning Commission continues to work with my staff and myself. Also looking at continuing to stay on current planning related issues and bringing those up to staff and to council if necessary, and to continue providing direction to staff regarding incoming long-term planning projects. And again, they are not requesting any funding again this year, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Hickory Youth Council, Alana Church. Am I pronouncing it correct?
Yes, there you are.
Okay.
I'm Alana Church. I'm a member of the Hickory City Youth Council, and I'm also a student at Fred T. Ford High School. So first, I just want to tell you a couple of things that we did this past year. In March, we held a dance marathon where we raised about $1,200, and we got a bunch of the youth out, and they got involved. And in May, we also had a sports camp, and that brought a bunch of kids out, and we were able to develop some leadership skills through that. And in October, as a lot of you know, we had an anti-bullying rally right here in Hickory, and we helped out with that, and we also got to promote anti-bullying throughout our schools. And recently, we've undertaken a mentoring project with the State Youth Council, where we're also promoting anti-bullying, and we've gone to the elementary schools locally, and we're just kind of talking to them and helping them through. And we've also gotten out in the community and gone to Fry Regional Medical Center, where we've delivered Christmas trees and Valentine's cards. So that's been pretty fun. Some upcoming events that we have our annual Easter egg hunt that we're helping out with. And we also plan to go to the State Youth Council Convention. And there we're going to learn team building, and we're going to get leadership training, and we're going to bring it back here and try to implement it into our schools. So we're requesting $3,600, and we feel that this amount would be sufficient for the work plan for 2015 and 2016. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Historic Preservation Commission, Larry Triplett.
Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, council members, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. Larry Triplett, I'm the chair of the Historic Commission. And I'll just highlight some of the stuff in our work plan. Our work plan budget will remain the same, it's $11,100. We're not asking for any additional funds on that. Part of our work plan this year was the plaque signage program, which we've implemented. You'll see, if any of you've noticed, there's new signs in the historic district. They're very attractive signs, very noticeable. The plaque program is a 50-50 split between the citizens and the city, where you can get plaques for your house if you have historic property. There's been about 27 of those distributed so far. The Ridgeview Library renovation is complete on the exterior. That was something that we finished up. We also obtained a grant this year for a historic survey, which hasn't been done since the 80s. That's currently in process. Our portion was $8,000, and the grant was for $15,000. Right now, again, it's about 10 or 15% complete, that particular survey. So that's all I have. Is there any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Library Advisory Board, Kathy Ivy.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, members of the council, Mr. Berry, and Mr. Crone. I am here to represent the Library Advisory Board and present our work plan for the year. We are not asking for any funds. Each board member will participate in a minimum of 4 specific volunteer activities related to library programming or operations. Our board members will also contribute to publicity of the library and the various media, Hickory Daily Record, HKY's First Talk program, presenting to the Neighborhood College and Leadership Catawba groups. The board will advocate for public library issues with state legislators, the state library, and local funders, and assist with legislative events at the library. The board will assist library staff and friends of the library as needed to plan and conduct author visits and other programs throughout the year. This includes the Visiting Writer Series at Eleanor Rhine, collaborating with them, and community read events. The board will assist with an effort to solicit donations to the library's endowment during National Library Week in April, and review the library's new strategic plan quarterly to ensure that goals and objectives are being met. Are there any questions? Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you. Parks and Recreation Commission, Mr. Tony Wood.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see you again, Mr. Zagaroli, council members, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. Parks and Recreation has been busy again this year, and I'm here to not only tell you our plan for 15-16, but also tell you some of the accomplishments that we've made in the past year. Our first objective is to emphasize the Park and Recreation Department's plans to renovate and upgrade existing recreation facilities. We support, or this department supports, 18 of the 23 parks in Hickory's park program. The other are taken care of by the Streets Department. And there's a lot of work that comes with maintaining the recreation facilities. One of the things that was accomplished last year was the floor replacement at Ridgeview Recreation Center. I don't know if you have seen it, but it's very nice. Tremendous upgrade. New seating at LP Friends. Opening day is April 9th, so hopefully you'll have a chance to make it out there and see that if you have not already. Also, new stadium field lighting that is compliant with Major League Baseball standards. That's in place. Stadium skybox renovations and the concourse repairs are complete. Phase 1 of the field lighting at Henry Fork Recreation Park is complete as well. Southside Heights, we have in the 2015-2016 budget request money to put a restroom facility at that location. It is currently unfunded, but in the request for next year, in the budget request. And the Phase 1 improvements at Hickory Optimus Park, this is being done with federal money, block grant money, and Phase 1 consists of the construction of a 0.2 of a mile walking trail, an outdoor fitness zone, and a new entrance to that park. And just so you know, to go back, Phase 2 of that will include converting the tennis courts into pickleball courts and also renovating the existing building into restrooms and a community meeting room. That's Phase 2. Additional parking at Hilton Park, that's across the street from the park. That lot has been purchased and will serve as additional parking, which is much needed. So those are some of the things that we have accomplished or are currently working on. Additional objectives, you've seen these before, to continue to support the development of the Cloninger Mill Park, to enhance the City of Hickory in its efforts to develop greenways and trails in accordance with the 2005 Master Plan, to pursue the development of a dog park within Hickory's park system. We've got some traction on this right now. We're pursuing a public-private partnership and hope to bring you news on that very soon. A lot of people out there would enjoy that, including these two gorgeous dogs. Here's a picture of the proposed site. Fairbrook Optimus Park, if you're not familiar, is located just off of Tate Boulevard behind the old Moose Products building. There'll be areas for large dogs and small dogs. It's very nice the way it's laid out. There's some fencing that will be done that will allow dog owners to come in, unleash their dog, and then let them into the play area, and also bring them in, leash them before letting them out of a fenced-in area. So it's going to be very nice. And there'll be some picnic shelters and things like that for pet owners as well. Next objective is to support the development of an outdoor amphitheater at Henry Fort, and to continue to support the completion of the Sandy Pines Park master site plan. There's a picture of that. That is right off of 29th Avenue behind Church of the Master, if you're familiar with where that property is. We're going to continue to explore Parks and Rec's recommendation to pursue an aquatic recreation facility. And something that is underway right now, we formed a subcommittee to investigate developing a splash pad and a spray ground, and that is also going to be a potentially a public-private partnership, and that is underway right now. And of course, to continue to support the partnership with the YMCA on offering swim lessons. That has been a huge success. The participation numbers are amazing there, and it's just been a really good program for all involved. Those numbers, 2009 2014, almost 1,800 participants in that program. We're going to continue to pursue collaborative public-private partnerships. We're really, I've been amazed, and I think everybody has been, about how we've been able to find people, private individuals willing to invest in parks and recreation, and we've gotten a lot of traction there, and it's really exciting, some of the things that we've been able to do and that we are doing. Some of those, some examples, of course, are the project with the Lackey family at Rotary Whitener. We are on the cusp of signing a priority use agreement with the Greater Hickory Tennis Association for improvements to Hickory City Park, and then of course the Friends of Hickory proposed downtown park. There's a conceptual layout of the Whitener Rotary Park project, and a layout of the improvements that will be made at Hickory City. It's going to be an expansion of parking, which is desperately needed because that facility is utilized not only by tennis players but also the bike riders at Whitener Rotary. And then, of course, a new restroom and meeting room facility will be placed there as well. And this is an overhead view of the conceptual design of the downtown Friends of Hickory Park, which will be located directly behind Community One Bank. I think everybody's familiar with that. That's an exciting project as well. And I do believe that's it. I want to thank you on behalf of the Parks and Rec staff and commission for your continued support. We're really excited about what's going on. This is, Parks and Rec offers a lot to the quality of life of the citizens of Hickory, and we're pleased to be a part of it. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
The city park there, they're going to keep the baseball field down there?
Yes, sir.
And how about the Fairbrook Optimus, that ball field, is that going to be the dog?
That will be the large dog area. Where the field is itself will be the large dog area, and then if you're looking at the field to the right is where the small dog area will be. It'll be a separate fenced-in area for the small dogs. You can't let those two together. We have some problems.
I also was wondering when you want to have a police dog there to kind of keep that.
I'm going to defer to Chief Adkins on that. but it's exciting. We've got some people in the community that are very supportive of the dog park. I think that's something that will be received very well in the community, and we're excited. We hope to be bringing you news about that soon.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Okay, bye-bye.
Public Arts Commission, Mr. Brian Frazier again.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, members of council.
Pro Tem.
Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone, good evening again. Mr. Behringer, our chairman of the Public Art Commission, wasn't able to make it, so he asked me to come before you this evening. You've got the Public Art Commission's work plan and budget before you. It's pretty much a continuation of previous years, but the Public Art Commission, when they last met, asked me to go over some of the accomplishments that were made in the past year. In 2014-15, the Public Art Commission had restored 2 benches. This bench here is at the salt block. It had been beat up a little bit just from wear and tear and from our friendly neighborhood skateboarders. This bench here is up in Viewmont along 127. Had quite a bit of rust from continual wear. It's utilized quite a bit. It's been over a decade effort, but the last public art on the bench, phase 4, the project was completed. The final bench was installed in front of the Metro Convention Center. You can see some of the construction that's going on. It's pretty close to the bench. This has been very well received, and the Convention Center and Visitors Bureau is looking at having more done through the Public Art Commission, possibly. In the past year, 2 new sculptures have been placed in city parks. This is Zara's World at the Kiwanis Park, and this is Ladola, the Ivy Arboretum, Sally Fox Park. 2 totally different styles, but these are the 2 sculptures that have been done within the past year through funding through council to the Public Art Commission. Also, 2 wall sculptures have been purchased and installed in Patrick Beaver Memorial Library. These sculptures are both done by artist Jan Kraft out of Gastonia. That really enhances the library, and I'm sure Louise and the Library Commission is happy with these 2. Also, 4 paintings have been installed through the Public Art Commission funding in the past year at Patrick Beaver. These 2, and then these 2 also. So we're glad that the library's been a recipient of some public artwork, and basically the work plan is to continue the art program, specifically a sculpture project. We're looking at enhancing the art walk, having a final brochure and website revisions in the near future. We're looking at continuing the art walk, specifically at Sally Fox Park, where there will be a sculpture garden. There's 2 sculptures there now. There's several benches, close to half a dozen benches in the park, and I just want to take this time to say thanks to Landscape Services and Public Services Department for all their work moving benches around and helping to install sculptures and put down the pads. We couldn't do it without them, and the budget would be a lot higher. The Public Art Commission is also running into the problem of providing continuing maintenance. We've had quite a bit of vandalism, especially on our benches in the last several years, when those benches are outdoors in parks that may not be as frequent in as other areas of the city all the time, 24/7. They're really open to graffiti artists and vandals. So doing the best we can to keep up with that. And the total requested funding by the PAC this year is for $22,500. And if you have any questions, I'd be most happy to try to answer those. Thank you.
Recycling Advisory Board, Mr. Norm Mears.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. I'm Norm Mears. I'm chairperson of the Recycling Advisory Board, and have some exciting things happening here. You have copies of our work plan. One thing to recall with a few, we really just recognized our 25th anniversary as a board. We were set up originally when we first did curbside recycling here at Hickory, and we feel like that was a good start to the recycling, and we've continuously improved that each year, adding different materials to that. We've had a very high participation rate in the city, higher than others we've been benchmarked against. We've got 75% recycling from the curbside, and added a number of different services over the year at the drop centers, pick up mixed paper, working closely with the Catawba County folks on what's picked up down at the Blackburn landfill, as well as some things like the hazardous waste event each year to take care of issues like that. So we feel real good, but the big thing that's happening here, and you'll hear more about it, it was in the papers today, is the move to single stream recycling. And we're going to play a big part in that. We've been involved in discussions on that and kind of looking at some of the Catawba County experience with it so far, and we'll work closely with the city to both monitor the implementation and break out the communications to citizens on what it takes, what type of items we take, what's special about the recycling, how to do it. Some of that we'll do through the website. That's going to be one of our primary communication tools, is to build up even more on the website to give people access to see what can you recycle, what do you have to do it, what are your schedules, and some things like that. So we'll play a big role in that happening this coming year, and certainly there's going to be more discussion about the single stream that's coming. In our work plan, continuing to identify areas that have limited participation and do some things to get more people participating in recycling, educate, publicize, especially with single stream. There'll be a lot of education of neighborhood meetings, things like that, getting things in the paper, on the radio, and of course on the website, and looking to continue to expand the scope, which the single stream is a big step toward expanding the scope of recycling. There'll be a lot more that goes along with that. The funding request that's in our work plan is, we've had it actually for more than 10 years now, of helping to sponsor a play that's put on each year for the 4th grade in the Hickory community schools, and that's a $3,000 request. And as I say, it's been over 10 years we've been doing that jointly with Catawba County, and that's the request that's in the work plan. And then we'll continue to look at city documents, ordinances, the handouts we have on how does that reflect the new things we do with single stream, and just update that as a part of the work plan. And that's all. Are there any questions?
Has the single stream already started? I mean, you can, in the small bins, can you not just put it all together in there now? I mean, in that kind of...
I'll address that just a little bit later, Mr.
Oh, okay.
I mean, his short answer, no. It's taken care. We all put it in the dumpster, but or in the recycling bin, but they actually sort it at the curb.
Well, they're still sorting it at the curb. I hadn't noticed.
Right. So that'll change and move to a dumpster in a whole different way of doing it. But we'll have more discussion about that coming up.
Okay. I know you didn't want to still chuck shit.
Yes.
Okay. I read it.
Any other questions? Good. Thank you.
University City Commission, Mr. Ryan Edwards.
Good evening, Mr. Zagaroli, council members, Mr. Berry, Mr. Crone. I'm Ryan Edwards, and the chairman of the University City Commission. In this, its first year in existence. Actually, I think we're here at our first anniversary. It was originally formed to deepen and broaden the relationship between Lenore Ryan and the city of Hickory, both its students and the residents within the city. The focus is on growing the students' body's presence and interaction in the community, and increasing the young adult population in Hickory, being another goal. I'd like to discuss what we've accomplished. We've been very busy. There's a number of items this year so far that we're very proud of, and we look forward to the year ahead, and this our first year requesting funding through our work plan. We've been received warmly throughout the community and gathered attention throughout the community as well, not just here but across the state. I think this is either the upcoming issue or this previous month. We were mentioned in Our State magazine. Lenore Ryan does an ad, but the University City Commission now has a presence in that as well, in being mentioned. We've started a more encompassing and thorough LR discount program with retailers and restaurants, where we sent out a letter that those establishments could be bear friendly, and students and staff would know that by showing their discount card they would have discounts at those places of business. And with that, they had buy-in. They could send in their logo and have on the revolving screens around campus promoting their businesses as well. So we had a nice partnership there, and we'll continue that as well. We're in the middle of planning a concert that's going to tie both the students. It's the biggest event on campus during the spring when a number of the students stay on campus. It's called Spring Fling. We're partnering with Lenore Ryan in doing a Spring Fling concert on Friday night to gather students and members of the community together in the same place for a fun evening. During freshman orientation, we provided T-shirts to all incoming freshmen and newly transferred persons. Myself and Mr. Meisner spoke during that event. It was very well received, and we look forward to having even a bigger part this upcoming year. We had T-shirts given out that had City of Hickory, the tie that binds, and the Lenore Ryan logo on it as well. So extremely well received. We are in the initial stages of working with the Hickory Young Professionals to form a partnership with LRU to promote events with juniors and seniors on campus, as well as their young faculty and staff as well. Obviously, that fit their young adult demographic. That's something I'm very excited about. We're also searching for ways to further develop and improve on the internship program at LRU. That's one of my soapbox items. Our ways to accomplish that is to continue to talk about it until we have a single portal for interns to go through that want to hire education intern, a business therefore that wants a student, why not from LR? And I believe that the best way to increase the young adult population is to have a good solid internship program within a LR where a student goes through a business internship and has the potential opportunity to come out and stick around in our community by hopefully having a job. Our work plan, in looking at the work plan, we're requesting funding associated with events, partnerships, and promotion. All the items in which I just spoke of, we will be looking to continue, but also further our growth in those areas, if you will. The event partnerships I mentioned would be itemized out at $5,200, business partnerships and program at $1,000, and promotional and marketing at $5,800. Our total request in these areas is for $12,000. I'd certainly like to entertain any questions at this time. We certainly appreciate your consideration.
Ryan, I don't have a question, just a comment.
Yes.
I would hope that you would continue to explore and to take this back to the commission, the possibility of the availability of the T-shirts and apparel for Lenore Ryan. I know we've had some discussion in the past about you go to some of our stores in Hickory, pharmacies, different places, and you can find apparel for other universities, even local high schools and things like that. And it seems like there's I don't know, something there that could be done.
Something's not right, yeah.
and also incorporating that, and I'm glad to hear you say, I haven't actually seen the T-shirts that incorporate Lenore Ryan University and Hickory, North Carolina, but I think that's something that I'd like to see the commission work on also, is to incorporate Hickory, North Carolina in their apparel and to have it more available.
Thank you. That's been noted, and we're actually formed a subcommittee to work with the licensing agreement right now. Lenore Ryan's under, but then also I know that there's a couple businesses that already started with the trinkets, so I thank you for that information. We're working on it.
The one that you talked about, is it available to the public, or was it just a special item?
That was just a special item, okay? That was just a special item. I know that Fanfare here downtown is working and promoting some of the trinkets, if you will, but not.
So that might be a collector's edition.
That might be. That's right.
I did buy a nice LR hat there too.
But
That's right.
yeah, y'all
No, thank you.
certainly take that back to the commission.
We've heard that from several people, but thank you for that information again. Yes.
I have a question on the bear-friendly thing you're talking about. Is that going to be like an ID card or something?
Well, when I say bear-friendly, around town, you can walk up downtown. We sent out a letter with actual stickers in conjunction with Lenore Ryan. Okay, there's a number of businesses that, I can go into naming them off, but right. I don't have the actual list, but in front of me, so I'm afraid I'd leave somebody out. But if they were willing to give an LR faculty or staff member a discount, they literally just place that sticker in the window of or the front door, so that the student would know. Now, then we left it on them to send their logo and what their discount might be to Lenore Ryan's marketing department, whereas they then displayed that company or that restaurant, that retailer's logo and their discount on their revolving screens around campus. So those stickers were sent out, expensive LR last year, but we call it kind of bear friendly, but it was a sticker of the charge. It's on them, so hopefully you can take note. I've seen them around town quite a bit.
I was just wondering if it's something kind of like some of the fundraisers that go around some of the schools where you buy a card and it can get discounted.
Yeah, it's just specific.
That'll just be for students at Lenore Ryan, not citizens of Hickory.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Persons requesting to be heard, Mr. Larry Pope.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, Mr. Berry, and Attorney Kraus. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be heard on some issues that has been presented at past meetings to city government. I know that Mayor Wright asked Mr. Berry to look into the cost of equipment to be used in cleaning the sidewalks during inclement weather such as we experienced last week. I would personally like to thank Mr. Berry for his concern about my travel from the courthouse to downtown Hickory when he saw me struggling to be on the sidewalk, to use the sidewalk instead of the street to get to where I was going. He stopped, asked me if he could be of assistance in transporting me to where I was going. Even though I said no, I knew I should have done it, but once again I thought to myself, this is just another example of my rights as a citizen in the city of Hickory to utilize sidewalks as they were designed for. Once I got up to the Hong Kong Cafe, started to cross the road, there was a city worker scraping the sidewalk on the east side of the street to clear it, struggling in the weather to be able to clear that sidewalk, which if we had had the type of equipment that City of Newton uses to clear their sidewalks, then that young man would not have been out there consuming a lot of time attempting to do something that was very difficult for him to do. I once again called the city Public Works to let them know that the sidewalk along 2nd Avenue between 4th Street, 3rd Street, and the Transit Center needed to be cleared. Once I got across 3rd onto the sidewalk to cross to get to the Transit Center, the sidewalk on the north side of 2nd Avenue along the Transit Center was nothing but snow and ice. And I asked them to please send somebody to clear that sidewalk because I couldn't even get to the Transit Center because of the sidewalk being covered. This, to me, is unacceptable, but our city seems to always be able to find money somewhere to do things that you as a city council wants to do, but not the things that you always should be doing. I also feel that you as a city council did not tell the citizens of our city during the bond referendum the truth in its entirety. Number one, you talked about the walkway from Gardner Park to the Crawdads Field. One thing that you failed to do or failed to tell the citizens about was the fact that that property along the lake is in Burke County. Are you going to spend our tax dollars or the bond referendum money to build a path from a park which sits in Hickory into Burke County, where we reap no benefit from the value of those improvements? Burke County will reap those benefits. It will be just like you did, or the former city council members did, when MDI built the plant in Caldwell County. You annexed it without Caldwell County's permission, and y'all ended up having to sign an agreement with Caldwell County that you would not annex any more property without their permission in their county. Are we faced with a struggle with Burke County about trying to do things without their permission in Burke County? Because to this point, I have not heard you appeal to the county commissioners in Burke County about construction, building, improving, or anything else of that nature in their county. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that what I am calling a corrupt city government, thinking that you can do anything that you want to do in another county without that county being on board, is misleading to the citizens of this city that will end up paying those bonds once you obtain them back. Will we lose the tax value that should be coming to us because you are doing something in another county? Just as at our airport, the taxes that is paid on private planes in certain hangars goes to Burke County, not to the city of Hickory, because that property is in Burke County. When I was a police officer for this city, and we got notification of a plane, private plane, landing at the Hickory airport, I could not arrest the person that was either driving under the influence or flying under the influence because we didn't have the authority. I had to be accompanied by a deputy from Burke County because that airport sits in Burke County. Are we back on the same path, doing the same thing that we've done for decades? Because we feel that we are so powerful as a city that we can tell the citizens anything that we want to tell them, and they will believe it because it's coming from the mouths of city council members.
Thank you, Mr. Pope.
I think that it is time to stop playing games and be truthful as you are supposed to be. Because I will tell you that the prison in West Virginia, which is a federal prison, still has room in it where you can end up like the mayor of Charlotte ended up for doing the wrong things that he thought he could get away with.
Okay.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes, regular meeting of February 3rd, 2015. Do I have a
I move approval.
motion? All right.
Motion and a second.
Excuse me?
Motion and a second.
Motion and a second. Anybody opposed? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Special meeting of February 8th through 10th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reaffirmation and ratification of second reading.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda. Motion?
I move approval of consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Where are we, Mick?
Informational items. Only informational item this evening to report is Mayor Wright's travel to the Metro Mayor's meeting, which was held in Matthews on January 30th, and it's a report of a mileage reimbursement to the mayor. There's no public hearings this evening, and under new business we have two departmental reports. The first I will call on Mr. Mac McLeod, the city's Parks and Rec Director, to present to council the conceptual site plan of the Friends of Hickory proposed downtown park. You'll recall that this came before you earlier and has since made its rounds through the Parks and Recreation Commission for some additional insights and input, and now is back to you for your acceptance and approval of the site plan.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, members of council, Mr. Crone, good evening. Before you tonight is your consideration of the conceptual site plan for the Friends of Hickory's proposed downtown park. And what I'd like to do is just spend a few minutes taking you through a PowerPoint. First one is, and you saw this earlier in Tony's presentation, just to orient you where the proposed park is. This is a city-owned parking lot adjacent to Community One Bank at the intersection of Main Avenue Northwest and 3rd Street Northwest. As you can see, the main entrance to the park, Friends of Hickory is proposing that to come via the crosswalk there on 3rd Street Northwest. A couple of ideas conceptual ideas that Friends of Hickory is proposing. As you can see, the public art is proposed for the park, pottery and a water feature. And I think Friends of Hickory is still working through what that final product will look like. But there will be a water feature and some type of public art. This is just an expanded view of the water feature there. And you see the white, what looks like drainage pipes there. Those are actually crawl tubes. Kids can crawl through. Friends of Hickory has done a great job in planning for age-appropriate play equipment at this park. As you can see, the national standards are play equipment is designed basically. You've got a 2 to 5 age group, 5 to 12, and 5 to 15. Now that doesn't mean 16, 17 adults can play on. That's just a natural. They talk about 2 to 5, 5 to 12, and then the 5 to 15. And Friends of Hickory's done a great job in that. And I think this probably, if you look in this area here, is play equipment that's designed for kids in the 2 to 5 age group, and I'll show you a little bit closer of that in just a few minutes. And then back in this area is play equipment that's designed for that 5 to 15 age group. But they've done an outstanding job planning that age appropriate equipment. This shows you a little bit closer this 2 to 5 equipment. Just to give you an idea, there's a small little town, what's called a town slide, little toddler slide, and this is a seesaw here, and then there's a small, you can't see the small spring animal there, which is all the equipment's designed ages 2 to 5. As you can see, the entire surfacing is designed as port-in-place surfacing. So all the port-in-place surfacing, as well as all the equipment you see there, does meet all ADA requirements. And you may see this green area that looks like grass. That is actually planned as port-in-place surfacing to look like grass. But this area, so all the surfacing you see is actually port-in-place surfacing. Just to give you an idea, if you go out to the Czar Baker All Children's Playground, that is the surfacing we have underneath the main unit is port-in-place, which is the same material. Staff has reviewed all the specifications for the play equipment and the port-in-place safety surfacing. All those specifications were provided to us by Friends of Hickory. And all of the playground equipment, all of the safety surfacing meets all required national playground safety standards. The only change the staff recommended to Friends of Hickory, and Friends of Hickory is agreeable to that change, is they are proposing here a stainless steel slide. And stainless steel slides meet those playground standards. But if you use a stainless steel slide, it's recommended to use those in shaded areas because they do get hot. We in our park system right now, we only have one stainless steel slide left. It's a small one at Hilton Park, but it's in a wooded area. It's completely surrounded by trees. So because it's not these actual hill slides are not in a shaded area, staff's recommendation is to change those to a plastic molded material. We have discussed that with Friends of Hickory. By the way, Allison Holzman with Friends of Hickory is also here tonight, but we've discussed that with her. Just a couple other pieces of fun equipment. If you remember years ago at my age, the merry-go-rounds, those were fun. The merry-go-rounds, well, those don't meet safety standards anymore. We had to remove those. So what you see, these little blue thing called spinner bowls. Kids can sit in there and it just spins around. This is called a supernova. Kids stand on it and it bounces up and down, spins around. So what that does, that gives kids the same play experience as they would on a merry-go-round. So like I said, Friends of Hickory has done a great job in selecting appropriate equipment for the park. Here, a neat thing, the park is fenced in, and Friends of Hickory is proposing a dual purpose for the park. You see here is part of the fence that we use for their donor and sponsor recognition. But part of it would be interactive. This is an interactive play panel. That's actually a chalkboard. Kids can go out and play on a chalkboard. So the fence serves a dual purpose. The park is providing adequate public seating areas. There's seating area here, and there's actually proposing tables and chairs here, so adequate seating areas. Here, just wanted to show you this area. Equipment here is designed kids 5 to 12. Just wanted to show you a little bit about user capacity. And user capacity is how many kids can be on a specific piece of playground equipment at any one time. This piece up here is a neat piece of equipment. It's called a crystal sphere. As you can see, at any one time, 51 kids can play on that piece of equipment. Just to put it in perspective, the height of that is about a little over 14 feet. The actual height, the highest play surface a kid could go up to is 8 feet 7 feet, almost 9 feet. This Astrope 2 is a climbing apparatus, and you can see it has a user capacity of almost 43 kids at one time. The total height on that unit is almost 9 feet 7 inches. The highest play surface is actually a little over 8 feet. Staff did present a conceptual site plan to the Parks and Recreation Commission for consideration at their January 13th meeting. The Parks and Recreation Commission recommends approval of the conceptual site plan as presented, including staff's recommendation to Friends of Hickory to consider changing the surface of the embankment slides from a stainless steel material to a plastic material. So tonight, staff recommends approval of the conceptual site plan with a requested change to the surface material of the embankment slides from a stainless steel from stainless steel to plastic for Friends of Hickory's proposed downtown park. And once approved, what I want to tell you is the process of what happens once approval is given for the conceptual site plan. Once that approval is given, then Friends of Hickory, will that allow Friends of Hickory to begin and can proceed with that design process to develop detailed construction plans. Once those plans are prepared, then it becomes a staff review at the staff level, staff review process with city staff, Friends of Hickory, and their design professionals. So that's how it will go there. So with that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. I think Allison is here to answer any questions anyone has. Mr. Zagaroli, with that, we'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
One thing, was that a real water feature there that was in there, was just drawn onto the...
Yeah, it is a conceptual...
So that's going to be a real water feature?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, I think Friends of Hickory are still working through what that final product will be, but they do want to have a water feature. There will be a water feature involved. That, like I said, they don't know what that final product will look like.
One I saw in Springville, Utah last summer. Beautiful, kids out playing. It's about the only thing going in town. A lot of kids out playing. It's a little stream, and it's very exciting. It looks a lot like that.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
No, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I would like to say, Max, up there, yesterday my grandson and I went over to the Czar Baker playground. The entire playground's being used. I mean, there was like a team practicing baseball down there at the shelters. People were sitting on, guys playing tennis. I mean, everything. There's probably a couple hundred people there at least. Of course, it's probably the most beautiful day we've had this year.
That's what it's there for. We work so others can play.
Those are big draws for the city of Hickory, I'll tell you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Going to be a great park.
Your second department report, I'll ask the city's public services director and city engineer, Mr. Chuck Hansen, to come to the podium. And of course, we've already touched on this with the recycling component, but two items tonight that kind of go hand in hand, and Mr. Hansen will present them. The first is a contract with Republic Services to handle the city's single-stream recycling program, and the second is a contract to purchase 14,000 rollout carts, which will make that possible. And I'll turn the time over to Mr. Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Berry, Mayor Pro Tem Zagaroli, members of council. I'm going to talk about both of these items, A and B, at the same time. They're sort of interchangeable a little bit, but obviously they got to sort of be approved separately. To get to this slide right here has been a few years in the making. Going back, and Mr. Mears talked about it with the original recycling program starting in the 90s, early 90s, if not 90. We've evolved to this stage in time to where the industry has totally changed in terms of what you recycle and how you pick it up and how you dispose of it back into the marketplace. We've been fortunate in that Republic Services is essentially in Catawba County. They have recycling centers all over the country, I think over 75 in various places. We're fortunate that there's actually one in Catawba County. It's down Tate Boulevard, technically in Conover, but it's just down Tate Boulevard from us. Here recently, they spent over $12 million converting that, you'll hear me use the word MRF, the materials recovery facility. They converted that facility from handling the way we sort of used to recycle to a single stream capable facility, and that was about a $12 million investment here locally to do that. And so the timing of this slide, if you will, is the evolution of their capital program coming into play, the market been able to handle this material and just, I'm going to say, separate it and dispose of it properly, and then obviously us migrating through our budget process to the collection of it. We've been a partner with Republic Services for ever since our recycling program started. They actually do the collection for us, and we've worked up what we thought it would take us to collect this, and we actually gave Republic Services a chance to put their numbers on it. We were somewhere right around 8 cents a household per month difference. They were 8 cents less than we were, but we had to buy 2 new trucks to do it. So that's the real simple version. I think they had a chance to maybe pick up some trucks from another marketplace. So we were both looking at the same project, the same target, and the same efforts, I think. They've been a great partner with us, and we look forward, hopefully, to continuing that. Tracy Nestor's here. Most of you know her sort of through downtown, but she's the municipal services manager with Republic Services. So appreciate Tracy's help in working through this. First question I always get, what can we do? So I'm going to talk about what we can recycle before I even get into the contract component. So you'll hear the next piece. Here's what we do today. Plastics 1 and 2, your food and drink containers, aluminum, metal cans, your soup cans, soda cans, newspapers, magazines, catalogs. So that goes in the blue bin, goes into the curb, and essentially up to right very recently, it was separated at the truck and it went to the facility separated. Now that their new MRF is in operation, yeah, they can sort of dump it in the truck and it gets separated there. At the same standpoint, we're still not advertising to the public everything can go into that blue bin because we would run out of room and you'd have garbage on the street. So, Mr. Seeger, that's sort of the answer to your question a little bit earlier. We're almost there. Okay. And some of us probably in this room have put that stuff in there and know it gets dumped in and it's disappearing.
Imagine they were taking it.
The other thing is we're wanting to really see what our tonnage difference is when we do make the conversion too. So that's sort of, so here's what we're doing today. Under a single stream scenario, we're going to continue doing all of this. And single stream means everything goes in one container. So you're going to have a rollout, and you put all your recyclables in that rollout. So what we can add are these things, the 3 through 7 plastic. So again, we're going to be able to go 1 through 7 in plastic. And this is sort of an example of what some of those things are. Got to ask what's a clamshell. That's sort of the thing you get, your to-go box with your food. Now, on this sheet, the one thing I want to jump out is you don't see styrofoam. Styrofoam is a no. There's a way to handle that, but it's not through this system. You don't see plastic bags. So the T-shirt bag from the grocery store needs to go back to the grocery store. It has a tendency to wreak havoc on the machinery. Same thing with plastic sheets. Say you get a case of drinks that's wrapped up in a piece of plastic. The plastic can't be recycled, but the plastic bottles or the cans that are in there can be, and so can the cardboard container that's on the bottom of it. So plastic and styrofoam's a no in simple terms. Here's probably the biggies for us. Cardboard, and when you see something like a pizza box, we're talking about clean stuff, not a half leftover pizza, which usually isn't a problem, but don't leave the pizza in it. Food products go in the garbage. So cardboard's gonna have a lot of cardboard coming from the residential household, we think, in terms of total weight. Also, you get down into your cereal boxes, your soda drink boxes, those type of things. That's really how most products come. And so we feel like this is going to be quite a bit of additional material we can recycle. And of course, all your junk mail and things that sort of relate to some of this, but there's still a lot of this paperwork that can go in there. And in this case, what we will educate and put out to the public is, and there'll be flyers that go along with the rollouts as we go out, and there'll be press releases sort of describing this and further working with the recycling board to get in press to get this kind of information out. But in a nutshell, we're going from these few items to include these plus this other, and it's going to be able to go in one bin. So what does all that mean in terms of a contract? The contract that we're proposing to you tonight is a 9-year contract, and you say, okay, where do we get the 9 years? Why not 10? Why not 5? That's sort of the life of a vehicle in one of these. And again, we may only get 7 years, but we might get 10. So we sort of picked that 9 year as something we both could sort of compare apples and apples in vehicles use. Also, in there is a 3-year extension. It's subject to obviously both parties signing that in the future. $1.97 per household per month, and that is for an every other week collection. Where do we save in this? Where we save is we're getting a bigger container out there, but we're picking the recycling up every other week. So everybody that has a Tuesday garbage route, their garbage will still go out on Tuesday just like it is every week, and it'll get picked up every week. The yard waste will get picked up every week. The bulky items, nothing changes in garbage. But that Tuesday route, half of that Tuesday route will be on the first Tuesday of the month. The other half of that Tuesday route will be on the second Tuesday of the month. And we'll get that information out to the citizens. So, again, it's every other week that your recycling will go out. And what that allows us to do is really cut down on transportation costs. This material can be single stream collected, meaning it can go in a truck and actually get compacted, so you don't have to make as many runs back to dump it. So that's where we begin seeing savings in terms of this type of collection method. Currently, we've got about 12,200 households we collect weekly in terms of garbage. Just to let you know, that's how many stops we make on a weekly basis. And so we'll pick up essentially half of those every week in terms of the recycling program. What the contract does is we actually have established a fixed fee in this for them handling the material at the MRF. And so over the life of this contract, if their cost at the MRF goes up because their equipment needs more maintenance, gets old, needs replaced, our base fee at the MRF doesn't change. Okay. In terms of material, we call a rebate, so what we get back from recycled product. And again, there's not huge amounts of money there, but at the same standpoint, this gives us a place that we know we can definitely take it and it can be handled correctly. This third bullet gives us a chance that under that fixed rate of handling at the MRF, anything over that we get 40% of as a rebate back to us in terms of recycled product. So again, the chance that in this case that Republic is taking is if that rebate goes up, that's their chance. They have to sort of keep that number flat. So it's fixed here, and our 40% is fixed.
Who monitors that?
We will look at, well, obviously the monitoring of it is the monthly billing that we get at to, and I'll get into go ahead and answer your question on terms of the way the recycled product is valued. Is the industry has, in our slang terms, there's a monthly yellow sheet that comes out that has the product price, the average product price for aluminum can or cardboard or whatever. That number is looked at and is used for establishing the value of the recycled product. So we're using the industry numbers in the Southeast region for what that value is, and that changes. That changes monthly. Some stay the same, and all of a sudden something happens in the marketplace and the bottom falls out of it.
It's very volatile. It's
very
more volatile than the consumer
It's
price
very
is.
volatile. And what we don't want to happen, which is why I feel like this is a fair contract on both parties, is we know we got a place to take our product. The good news again is, it's in Catawba County. We're not having to pay to ship it 3 counties over to dispose of it.
So I guess, really, there's an existing city employee that'll kind of be looking after this?
Oh, yeah.
On
our Andrew Valentine is our solid waste manager.
Additional tasks for that person?
No, we're doing it now.
Okay, just on
We're
greater
doing it
scale.
now.
Okay, so same scale, basically? Yeah.
The numbers are bigger. And same process, the numbers are bigger.
Okay.
But yeah, we do this now with our existing program.
My point was, it's not a lot of additional work for an employee.
No, it's additional in that we will be looking at more product. he may argue with me.
He may argue.
Yeah. But no, this is something that we'll handle with this part of what we're doing today.
The trucks that pick it up now, are those going to be our trucks or?
Okay, good question. By contracting this out to Republic, it will be their vehicles, their vehicle maintenance, their fuel, their tires. That's what we get for that $1.97 a month per household.
I was wondering how you're going to pay for trucks and do all that for $1.97. So.
Well, like I say, we were at $2.05, but that's how close we were. But again, the difference is them being able to utilize some trucks that they're shuffling around in their facility is a big part of it. But anyway, beside the point, we're real close. It's their vehicles, their labor picking it up, just like it is today. And our product at the curb, and once they pick it up, it becomes their product. They're responsible for selling it. We're basing our numbers off of the monthly average sheet that we're looking at as the industry. What we think we do, again, these are speculations a little bit at this stage, but we sort of pulled some of our own numbers and looked a little bit. Well, definitely will reduce the waste going into the landfill. You can remember we spend $33 a ton for every ton we take in the gate at the Catawba County landfill. So we're thinking we're probably going to somewhere a little over a couple thousand tons per year that will not make it to the landfill. So that in itself is savings that we're not spending that will benefit this program. So again, from a new program, we're sort of expecting numbers in this range per year, and that's the landfill savings, that's the savings on the contract and the collection component by going to single stream automation, collecting every 2 weeks, and what a little bit we'll get back in terms of rebate on materials. Now, with that said, we also have to spend some money. The blue, what I'm calling blue bins, will be recycled bins. It'll look just like your green one, only it's going to be blue. In fact, the next piece of this is to approve purchasing 14,000 of those. That gives us the 12,200 we need, plus some for business recycling, plus some for replacement. But we've matched them up with our green rollout so that the wheels and the axles and those things, they are ours. The blue ones will be ours. We'll work with maintaining those so our parts are interchangeable from that standpoint. So again, we're looking at sort of some long-term operational components there. 14,000 blue bins we're looking to purchase. We're piggybacking this off of another bid process. The Schaefer is the systems that we use now, and they are the low bid on the other three companies that bid for the carts. The carts will be utilizing about 15% recycled components in the carts themselves. Not 100%, but that's a totally different animal. Just due to the plastic makeup, they at 100%, they really, without going to a totally different product, they don't stay together very well. 15-20% is about what you can do, and it functions like it's supposed to. We did pick up through Andrew's work He wrote a grant. We picked up $30,000 from the community waste reduction grant that helps go towards the purchase of these carts. When you roll the price of the carts in, the savings we'll get, the rollout should be paid for in less than 6 years from what savings we'll have in the contract, if that makes sense. Again, the carts themselves are going to be expense. So anything after 6 years is profit over what we're doing today by going to single stream. So there is an upfront expense of the $670,000. The carts are, forget my number off the top of my head, but 70 something. It's in the green sheet, less than 30,000. So again, from a standpoint of savings, after creating a total savings of about $410,000 over the life of the first 9 years of the contract. So not quite $500,000 there, but that's I think we're very conservative on our projections of what we'll save at the landfill and what we'll save in increased tonnage. A lot of people are seeing somewhere in the neighborhood of whoever you talk to, and there's numbers from 20 to 30% in terms of increased recycled product going there for going to single stream. So what we're looking at, we're expecting to keep not quite 20,000 tons of material out of the landfill over the life of this contract. That's a pretty big number when you roll it back into per capita type numbers over that. The scheduled start date, we hadn't pulled the trigger to set that again. Got to get a contract approved. We've got to get a contract approved to order the carts. So once all those things start rolling, then we can actually put a real date out there. But if all goes well and things start the process tonight, then we're looking in that April-May time frame to start this service. So it'll come this year.
So if everyone will keep the recycling clean, we can recoup more money.
Yes.
No, you've got to empty your pizza boxes.
So what you're going to see on an average day is on your day, you're going to see your green rollout go out with trash, and you're going to see your blue rollout go out with trash, and the garbage truck will come by and pick this guy up, and the recycling truck will come by and pick this guy up. This will go out every week just like it always does. This will go out every other week. And hopefully we have a problem that this thing's full and we have another tackle to do it a little bit more than every other week. But we'll see, and we'll see how that works. We have seen some folks we have some homes that pay 2 solid waste fees and they have 2 green rollouts. We expect them to hopefully they'll increase their recycling and probably only have 1 green rollout after that. So.
Do you think the green rollout will maybe go to every other week at some point and people do a lot of recycling?
I don't think so. It obviously won't be as full as it was, but just due to smell, sanitary issues, probably not.
Every week, okay.
Yeah, we have people hollering if we have a snow day and they miss one day sometimes. So, but no, hopefully, I don't see that. I think that'll still be weak. So what we're asking for is approval of the contract.
You're asking for approval of the contract.
With Republic as one item, and the second item is the purchase of the carts.
Yeah, okay, I got questions on the contract and then on the purchase of the carts. On the contract, it says start April 1st, but clearly that'll be adjusted to when it starts.
Right, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then the second thing is there was nothing in there that killed our current contract. How are y'all handling our existing contract?
We will give them the notice in the contract, and this will.
So that's all been sort of dealt with. All right, that's right.
Yeah, and again, the one question in this one is there is essentially a 30-day notice, and if somebody's not performing, and we have that pretty short in case that if something happens and it doesn't get picked up, we can get out of it real quick and get somebody to start picking it up. So.
I would move approval of the contract with Public Waste Services.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right. That's the contract. Now.
Yeah, question on the cards.
Now.
Yeah, okay, so we, it was budgeted item, 1.3 million. I guess this goes to Warren. In this fiscal year, installment purchase.
We're going to recommend paying cash and not doing financing.
So we're not going to finance it.
We're going that would come next meeting.
Out of our fund balance. General fund balance. Okay.
There is some money that we can use in the solid waste fund, but the bulk of it will come from fund balance.
Okay. Well, good. That's a good thing that we're not incurring that debt.
Correct.
And nobody's bill is going to go up because of this customer.
Pay attention to what I say. Because of this contract, no.
Okay.
We are having conversations internally on our solid waste fee. Is that something that needs to be adjusted? That's got nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Solid waste fee still doesn't pay for all of the solid waste expense that we have on a monthly basis.
Yeah, what my question really was, is this new plan doesn't increase.
By itself, and it's in and of itself, no.
Okay.
In fact, there's savings.
Right. And recycle more.
Correct.
I would move approval of the purchase for the rollout costs.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passed. Okay, thank you.
And we really couldn't do without that second one. Had to be approved first.
But yes. Appointments to boards and commissions.
I have one. I'd like to appoint Beth Whitaker to the Community Relations Council as a Caucasian differently abled person.
Motion.
That was a motion.
That was a motion. Second.
Is there any others before we do them all at once? You better
Want to package them? Bundle them?
Okay.
Anybody?
Well, if that was a motion, I'll second that.
No other appointments? All right. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd just like to appeal to the citizens, anybody in Ward 3 that would like to serve on, we've got the Public Art Commission and also the Recycling. If you know anybody who lives in Ward 3 who would like to serve. If you know anybody who lives beside somebody that lives in Ward 3.
You have a friend that knows a friend.
Yeah. I've been looking and asking for a while.
Yes.
I would appreciate all the heads ups I can get.
All right. Presentation of petitions, requests, nothing. Matters not on the agenda. General comments by members.
I'd just like to say I hope that the Hickory High boys and girls both went to the next round of the playoffs. They're probably both over by now.
It started at 8:30, so maybe not.
Oh, it's
The boys said they were 8:30.
Oh, boys lost.
Boys lost.
Girls won, boys lost. Is that right? Let's see.
I have one other general comment. As we learned the news this last couple of weeks about our assistant city manager Warren Wood moving on, first of all, I just want to let him know, I think it's on behalf of the entire council, how much we appreciate everything that he's done for us and for all of his times we've been able to call him and he's advised us and helped us and all like that. We're going to extend a thanks to him personally. I'm sure we'll have other opportunities to do that. But as I look out here in the council, I see mostly what's left is our staff and department heads. And I just want to take this opportunity to let them know, and especially take back to their staff how much we appreciate. I know you get compensated and all like that, but I know I call on them as individuals a lot of times, especially those folks that are sitting in this room. And with Warren leaving, it just reminded me once again of what a great staff that we have. And I hope that each and every one of you just take that back to your employees and let them know that we greatly appreciate them.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Not at all. I'll vote aye.
I went back.
County Revenue